We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred.
Oh, yes, bitches.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, welcome to Nothing Sacred.
Shrink wrap with Luie Loke. I am
Loke in the
Cruise
building.
Control.
And I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
And the aforementioned
Luie Loke.
There he is.
It is that time of the month for you lovely ladies out there.
For you lovely ladies out there, huh?
and all you menses too, if you feel that way, you know.
If you're feeling bloody. Yeah. So here's the thing. I wanted to talk about something this time, but this isn't something that...
before you mention that though, I want to mention something really quick. You know,
okay.
you have a way with words, and last year during COVID, you had said something like, "Oh yeah, I got a mask to cover my dick. It's called a dask."
See, I forgot that I said that. I totally forgot about the dask.
A dask. Yeah, I got my dask.
Don't ask about the dask. You know what I'm saying?
I totally forgot about dask, but hey man, that's good. That's why I got you to remember this shit.
It's a little larger at the bottom to accommodate the testicles.
Right. Exactly. You gotta cover it all up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's definitely it allows the air to permeate, yet still.
So
I guess what you were trying to say is I got a way with words, and here's just another one.
Yeah, you definitely have a way with words. Max has this idea, has all these ideas in his head. He's the idea man. We just Cruise Control and we just kind of roll with it, but most of the time it's him. He's got the ideas.
That's
he came up with this idea.
Subjects. He is concept man in this case.
In that case, yes. Now with the improv stuff, Cruise Control is definitely the concept guy.
But in terms of having subject matter, he's like, I've got this. I'm like, all right. So today's subject, kids and boys and girls, and it starts with the letter E, and it's called Ensightlement.
Yes, Entitlement.
So why don't you go ahead, Max, and explain?
I'm going to explain Entitlement,
and then we can riff off that.
Okay, so Entitlement is when sighted people think that you're entitled to something because you're blind when you actually aren't entitled to it. And there's two kinds. There's actually primary entitlement, which is, and I'll give examples of both, but primary entitlement is like, a few years ago, I was bitching about having that overpayment with SSI on Facebook and how they were charging me, even though I called in and reported that I was working and I did the good little boy thing. Well, I was posting about that. And there were a few of my sighted friends would comment and they'd say, "That's bullshit. You deserve that money, man. You're blind." And so it's like, well, no, I don't. You're missing the boat here, man. What I'm bitching about is the fact that they dropped the ball and then now charge me this big fat overpayment. You know, I'm not upset because I'm not getting the money anymore, or they're taking money from me.
Yeah.
So that's,
in fact, you're upset because you did everything you were supposed to do, and they're still nailing you with stuff that when you did what you're supposed to. That's a story of, I think.
Right. So they thought, but they're going, no, that's bullshit. You're entitled to that money, man. You're blind, blah, blah, blah. So that's primary entitlement. Now there's secondary entitlement, which I'll also give an example of, which actually kind of happened fairly recently. That's when sighted people think that you, as a blind person, think you're entitled to something that you're actually not entitled to.
Oh.
And this example for that was about a week or so ago. I was talking to a coworker and we were talking about my Facebook post. And she said, "Well, you do come off very entitled." And I said, "Well, what post are you referring to? Can you give me an example?" So she said, "Well, I can't think of one right now." So I said, "Okay, I'll help you think of one." How about when I bitch about paratransit? And she was like, "Well, yeah, that's a good example." And I said, "Yeah, so what's wrong with that? They're fucking up. They're coming late. They're doing this. They're doing that." And she's like, "Well, most of us would have to go walk down to the bus." And I'm like, "No. This is a service I pay for, and I have the right to fucking bitch about it." But here it was right away. It became, "Oh, you just think you're entitled to something because you're blind and blah, blah, blah." So that's secondary entitlement. So yeah, man, That's where, and this shit
Okay.
actually trickles down to other blind people, from other sighted people that tell them, "Oh, you're entitled to this, man. You deserve."
Because unfortunately, and let's just be honest, guys, a lot of blind people defer to sighted people for wisdom and for guidance automatically.
Yep. You got it.
And that's unfortunate because, as an individual human being with your own perceptions and ideas about life, you should not be referring to other people simply because they have something. And obviously, in obvious cases, I mean, if you're saying, "Hey, dude, is there a freaking Doberman Pinscher there? I can hear." Yes, there is. Okay, great. I'll trust your judgment. But hey, sighted person, what about my financial needs and my goals in life? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what about how do I deal with my wife, sighted person? Like,
Right. Well, that or you need we talked about this with Koala last week. Oh, you need a dog. Okay, I need a dog because Sighty says so.
Yeah, a sighted person telling you need a dog because they saw a fucking movie of the week with the chick from Bewitched where a dog got, whatever.
Yeah.
In the early 80s. Anyway,
well,
what do you think about that?
I think that's where it starts from, is like the whole idea of, seeing people in movies and things like that, like the whole idea of,
Right.
they have to have a dog, or they, necessarily have to know Braille. Now, I'm sure Braille.
Oh, that's a great example. Yeah. Like, oh, well, matter of fact, I had a couple come up to my table. Now they're like in their 80s or something. This is when I had a work event one time. And the wife is going, "I want him to learn Braille. He needs to learn Braille now because he's going blind." I'm like, that's not going to help him. So, but yeah, here's that shit again where, so this old guy's thinking, "Oh, I need to learn Braille now because Sighty says so."
I think it all comes back to the same thing for me. And this is, I know, like, you hate the entitlement and all that stuff, but where is it coming from, man? It's coming from all these dopey ass blinks who are fucking just. I'm sorry.
I think it's coming from sighted people. I think people.
I think it's a circular thing. I'm sorry, but I've just had this experience where it's like the lowest. Everyone judges a lot of people from the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing when
But what makes them dopey? They have parents that shelter them and say, "Oh, you can't do that. You're blind. You can't go there." I've seen plenty of that too.
You took the words right out of my mouth. So it's like learned behavior. Is what I think.
That's what I think too.
And I think I think it's that whole idea of
it's
behaviorism, where it's like, oh, you get rewarded for being this way.
For something stupid.
maybe if you act like you're helpless, then people help you and do stuff for you. So you're like, I like that reward. I'm just going to go with that.
Yep.
And I'm just going to use that. And then you've got the sighted people that are on the other side, like, oh, they definitely need it because I saw this one guy who claimed that he needed additional
and I helped him because he didn't want to do it himself because he was using me because he could easily do it himself. And that's my
then the sighted person got the reward because they said, "Oh, I'm being helpful and altruistic and all this other good stuff."
Yeah, exactly. You guys are right on the money there with that.
Like I said, a cyclical thing. Now let's focus because you got these two things. Let's start with the primary.
Primary entitlement.
Primary entitlement is when someone thinks that you deserve something simply because you
are blind.
You're blind. Like whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. Like front of the line at Magic Mountain, which is complete bullshit.
Right? Yeah, that's very stupid.
Like that. That is definitely a primary entitlement. Let's put the blindos at the front. They can't stand in a line.
Yeah. Yep. That shit.
Yeah, they fucking can.
Well, there's something in Missouri, I think,
because if you don't
where they get a blind pension, I think.
If you don't meet the requirements of a blind, like that bugs me. I'm gonna have to. This is a perfect example at amusement parks. You're in the sun for fucking 3 hours, and some blinko just walks by you. They get to go to the front of the line when I'm visually impaired and I can't necessarily prove my blindness, and I can't go up there. And my point is that no one should be able to, unless you have a physical. Like if you're in a wheelchair, why would you need to? You can chill in the line. You're sitting already, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah.
Fucking, I'm gonna push them around on the line. No.
Or how about that dumb shit about giving up your seat in the front of the bus? I actually had one time when I got on paratransit, this old guy got up and he moved. I was like, oh, hey, why are you moving? And he was like, no. I know you're supposed to give your seats to people that are visually impaired. And I was like, no, you're actually wrong.
Shit, half the time you don't want to sit down in those seats, man.
No, hell no. Well, this is,
I've sat and pissed before, dude. I've sat and just like where I've smelled it on me after I've left the bus.
Oh, that's really fucking disgusting. Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway.
Well, speaking of paratransit, here was a case of entitlement that just happened yesterday, as a matter of fact. So we go to pick up, I had an event for work. So I'm done with it now. I'm headed home, and we had to stop by a grocery store to pick this lady up. So we pull up in there, and the driver's looking for her and going, where the fuck is she? And, eventually the driver parks, gets off the bus, goes into the store, has this person announced on the PA system, that their bus is outside. And so probably 5-10 minutes later, this lady comes walking out, and the driver's like, she's getting annoyed. She's like, I'm about to no-show her. I'm like, I think you should. And finally, of course, she felt bad. She didn't want to. So then just as we're about to leave, this lady comes walking out, and she's blind, or almost blind. Pretty much she's, severely visually impaired. So she comes up to the bus. The driver opens the door. She says, I was about to no-show you. And she's like, oh, I'm paying for my stuff now. Please don't leave. And does the whole puppy dog feel sorry for me shit. And the driver's like, well, you better hurry because I will no-show you. So I guess she finally, and then she comes out and she gets on the bus. And I guess the thing that really gave it away for me is later she was saying that she was damn near blind, and that she goes to the blind center every day. And I'm like, that's where you're getting this. So here it was, you should have your groceries paid for when you know your motherfucking bus is going to be outside there.
Well, babe, I mean, maybe that's true, but
she was fucking around in the store because she knew, oh well, they're not going to no-show me. They have to wait. I'm blind.
But are you sure you're not putting that on her yourself without really realizing that maybe?
Yeah, that's stupid. True. That's what I was thinking too.
Because you're doing the same thing you're saying that they're doing. Like, oh, so I think that I'm entitled to do this.
Well, that's what it looked like to me. I mean, you if you know your bus is going to be there at such and such time, you make sure your groceries are paid for. You're out of the store. You're waiting for your bus.
But that's not necessarily an entitlement thing. That might just be her being a fucking absent-minded doofus. It has anything.
Well,
or maybe she doesn't have access to a watch.
Yeah, or whatever. but the point is, you're putting that. Now, I'm doing the devil's advocate here because I get where you're coming from. But you're putting that onto her because she's blind. If she wasn't blind, you wouldn't even be thinking that. You'd be like, well, why is she late?
Yeah. I wonder if that's secondary entitlement right there.
Yes, right there. That might be a thing of a secondary, like where you're actually taking incited ideas,
maybe
putting them onto other blind people. Now we're getting crazy deep here. But
well, this is good.
But you're absolutely right about that, Lou, because think about that. Now let's take this really. If she was not blind, you would not be able to use her blindness as a reason why she did what she did.
True that.
So therefore you're using that blindness yourself for that.
Well, and the fact that she goes to the blind center, so I'm like thinking, oh yeah,
no, because before that you knew she was visually impaired. You put the blindism on it yourself. You did it. Well, because if she wasn't blind, how could you use a blindness?
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Although
it's like saying, well, she's a woman. That's why she did it. And you're like, what? No.
Yeah. Well, it's the Durbin mentality. That's what I think. That's what I think happened. I think this person's just because I've seen it not just from blind people when it comes to the bus. It's just anybody because a lot of people just think they're
of course they're all, though the entitlement around our society is actually a broader case, but in terms of like with blind people, it's also this codependent love fest because is that how would you think to describe it, Luie? Because it's like I was thinking about it, like it's like this code, like people love to coddle blindos because they feel better about themselves, and that reinforces the whole, and blindos like to, because they can get things that they want.
Yeah, who doesn't want somebody to help them every now and again?
Yeah,
who wants to be a little bit lazy every now and again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not always, but every once in a while. Hey,
come on! There's a reason why there's a name for it. There's a reason why we call it the blard. There's a reason why they
Yeah.
got the blind card.
Yeah.
There's a reason they have a name.
Oh yeah.
I mean, anybody who goes, "Oh, you pulled the blard," they pretty much know what you're.
Right. And it can be done because it's
in
allowed.
the blind community, obviously, or the blind card. They may not call it the blard like we do, but they might call it the blind card. You know?
Yeah.
You're pulling the blind card or the blink card. I don't know, whatever they.
Actually,
the blink card.
Oh,
yeah, like if you don't want to wait 3 hours in a line at Magic Mountain, let's go.
Yeah, when it's convenient, then I guess we will. There are times we do, but you know what? It's because they allow us to do that shit. If they didn't, which we're perfectly capable of standing in line for whatever, but since they're allowing it, fuck it, in that case.
On the flip side, I was kind of reading an article, kind of preparing for this particular topic, and I found somebody who, it's a little more, I think, leftist. I would say.
What did they say?
That's Jesus.
That's where it's coming
right.
from.
Yeah, that's where it's coming from, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of bring up the whole idea of visually impaired people not being equally, politically equal in society, not economically equal in society, because of the 60% unemployment rate of blind people. That sort of a thing. And so they kind of brought up that whole idea, and I was like, yeah, okay. But, all of us are employed in one way, shape, or form.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, well, why is that? Because the attitude is, well, hey, you get free money. You shouldn't complain. And that's what they call it, free money.
Yeah. No, fuck it. I don't care. I'll admit it. I'm on disability right now.
Right.
Me too.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm there. Because I literally started having issues with the career I chose. I chose customer service using a screen every day, where a visually impaired dude is looking at a screen all day long. And with my vision, it's pulling back and forth across the screen. So I decided to take a chance and move on and do some other things, but I can also still work 20 hours doing the same job previously. Right. And I my plan, I'm just, full.
Which you said you were going to do that. Actually, I remember you talking about that.
Well, yeah, because the only reason I haven't done it is because of the holidays. I'm not getting the new job before Christmas.
No, that's good.
And with COVID, there's a whole damn saga in my whole life where basically it's been a year and a half where I've been struggling to figure it. I don't want to go into that. My point is full disclosure. I'm not going to be like, yeah, those motherfuckers taking money. Yes, I received disability. However, it will allow me to do similar jobs and be productive.
Correct.
In certain ways. So, but I know that if disability went the way of the shit, went all of a sudden, you no longer get it. Guess what I would do?
You'd be going looking for jobs.
And I'd get a job.
Correct.
Right.
And I would handle my shit.
Where a lot of these people,
I've done it before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. A lot of these people either don't want to, or they're just not employable. They weren't trained how to behave in the workplace.
No, or
that's correct.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, you ever heard of Daniel Taj?
Oh yeah.
So he says the unemployment rate is about 10%. I think that's pretty low, pretty high. I don't know. I don't care. He says, but you know what? 90% of you do not deserve jobs.
Well, that's true. Yeah, because there's some idiots in the workforce there, man, for sure.
Yeah,
I think that goes back though. Like that touches on something though, the Social Security thing, because I think a lot of it has to do with when you're younger. If when you're young, or maybe I don't know what it is. If you have like when I was younger, I actually was fortunate enough to get a really decent job, so I had to get off Social Security. Because I was offered a good job that paid more and I couldn't be on it. So I was literally forced into the workforce to live like everyone else. I know so many people who were not done that, and they were like children at 35 or 40. And, just literally 30. I'm going to go back to school. Yeah. Or whatever the hell they were doing. But I was like, dude, I'm working. I'm making money. I'm doing, working, jumping from different, jobs.
Yeah.
While they're just sitting there going to school for 20 years, you know, whatever, or
Right.
doing other things that are sitting there.
Right.
They were the Blink Wilders.
Yeah. Like I think that's the same thing.
Blink Wilder.
Blink Wilder.
You know, like Van Wilder, who was
Van Wilder,
a career
yeah,
student.
Career student, yeah.
Yeah.
Or career just not doing this career, like because they never actually had to learn how to really you know, how to manage a 40-hour work week, and that's a stressful freaking thing to do as an adult. You know, they just didn't have to do it, you know.
Well, and a lot of the blind kids are not included in those kind of things in a lot of cases either. Like, you know, like if you go to a blind school, I don't think there's any kind of career readiness shit. I could be wrong, but I don't think they're preparing them really for the workplace and the workforce and how it goes and that type of thing.
Well, they're not preparing anybody.
I think also it boils down to the family. I think it boils down to I don't know. I mean, I believe that all of us are in the same boat where our siblings, even the sighted ones, and because I have a visually impaired brother, but I also have a sighted brother, and he treated us both like normal kids. Like he roughed house with us, he fought with us, he played football with us. We did everything with him.
Yeah, had nothing
and it was
to do.
Like, and there was times that I would even ask him, "What's it like to have two blind brothers?" He's like, "I don't give a shit. You guys are the same. You guys are the same as normal." And I'm like, "That's cool, man." You know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Hell yeah. Well, you're right.
And then
a lot of them, they do.
My parents didn't play kid gloves either. Like they pretty much made it to where it was just like, you know what? Get out there and do your shit. You know?
I think I got the anti of that. I was the youngest brother by 3 years. My oldest brother was 6 years older than me. My second oldest brother was 3 years older than me, and I was visually impaired, and they weren't. So they had, you know. So I was the youngest kid who was visually. So I was like, oh, you got it. You know, I was left alone, of course, because that was the '80s when the parenting was. Like I'm 9 years old.
I don't know, man. But if you were,
I'm 9 years old alone at home, dude. 8 years old. That was not abnormal in.
No, it wasn't.
No, we used to do that shit all the time.
But because we were fucking awesome. Because that's why we're better than kids.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to be a blind kid today. You know,
seriously, man. We didn't go and do stupid, crazy shit. Most of the time, we sat around and watched cartoons while they were
correct.
Yeah,
Jesus, ate chicken nuggets. You know, Tyson's chicken nuggets. Or whatever.
But you know what? You were still held to the same standards, man. Like, you know, if you were fucking up in school, your parents would have been there. Well, these kids don't. You know.
But also, I think back then there was such a big push to be like, you know, you're on your own and, you know, do your own thing.
Yeah.
That I was pissed off that they would get mad. Like, you know, he can't see, you know, like, fuck, don't talk about mom, shut up. You know, like I was never like, yeah, mom.
Right.
You know, like, it pissed me off. Like I am more like I'm the first one I moved out. Boom. I mean,
actually, yeah, you were the first one to move out of there, weren't you?
I was out over there. I'm like, I'm not gonna be dependent on you guys, you know.
Yeah. I'll rephrase that too. There's times where my parents, because you know they're trying to be protective or whatever, you know, riding bikes or climbing trees or doing something crazy like that, they'd be like, "Are you sure about that?" And I'm like, "Yep, I'm sure. I'm gonna go do it anyway if you tell me not to."
I don't know though, man, because my parents let me do all that shit. You know, as a matter of fact, my dad bought me a 3-wheel bike because he knew I had trouble with the standard bicycle. So, you know, he wanted me to be able to ride bikes like all the other kids.
I think a lot of what we're talking about here in terms of entitlement is just like you. I don't know how, like I said, you were blind from birth.
Yeah.
Luie?
Oh,
yeah. Both you guys.
Yep.
So you don't have concepts of sight really at all.
No.
Okay. So that's the whole thing.
I mean, I have functional vision, but not as much as you.
Oh, okay. I mean, I have concepts of sight. I know every color. I know sight is very important to me. I need sight as much as any other sighted person. It's basically.
See, and I use sight to my advantage. I'm not going to say that I just always play the blind thing.
But you understand colors and you understand, you know, shadow.
I understand shades. I don't think my parents really gave me the whole concept of color. and I just kind of like, it's just one of those things that was thrown in the background, so it didn't matter.
It's a way to describe your luggage to somebody. That's
I guess my point is like just the same way that that you like Max can't understand sight. Sighted people really can't understand total blindness.
Oh no.
Sure.
No, totally. Yeah.
They can't. They can't. Sure. You could. I close my eyes and I can't. No. You don't understand. When someone has no concept of any color ever because they don't understand. They've never seen a color, so they really have no concept of even the concept of color.
Right.
You can't unlearn that.
Like when somebody says to me, "Do you see black?" and I'm going, "What the fuck is that?" You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell black looks like, so people will say that. Do you see black? Or what is it like? They'll say that. It's like, I can't tell you because I've never
close our eyes. We can close our eyes, but it doesn't matter because once you understand the concept of sight, you can't unknow it. And if you don't know it, like no one knows how your mind works, Max. Like
what's funny, but what's funny is too that they can't figure out me either. I can't figure out me because I don't have that reference point. So they'll be like, "How much can you see?" And I'm like, "Well,
I'm the same way right now. I'm like,
I see as much as I can. I see as much as I can see. You know."
Well, they'll put you in a weird category because they're like, "Well, either you're blind or you have sight. What is it? It's not that."
And it's definitely not black and white. It's never. It never has been and never will be. But the thing is that I'll point out stuff that I can see, and they're like, "Oh, okay, so you can see that. All right, great. Because they have an idea, a concept. But I still don't know how much a fully sighted person can see.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I know there's a lot of things that I don't see that a fully sighted person does see.
All I can tell you, Max, is that here's an example I can give you. I thought about this too. The only way a sighted person can understand blindness is to close their eyes or cover their eyes completely.
Right.
And not be able to see. But when you see, so I mean, just consider the sighted guy. All right, I want you to run as fast as you can down this road with a blindfold on.
Right.
That's all we can really, because that's the same thing. Because when you have vision, it's like you can't not see. You can't not see something.
Right.
Like that's so that's why the entitlement I think happens is because they just can't
They can't fathom it. Well,
I can't fathom it. I honestly, I'm part of
what I always say,
fathom not living without sight.
And what I always say too is
that's true.
Well, because sighted people tend to, I like to say they like to put their shoes on you rather than walking in your shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't matter that you're coming off totally competent and confident, whatever. There must be a way you do that.
Yes.
But instead of doing that, it's, if I were blind, I would need all this fucking assistance. I would need, and
that's where the entitlement comes in. It's those dumbass sighted people that just automatically assume, make an issue of it, bring it up in conversation to make it look like it's something that's an issue when it's never been an issue.
Right.
And
you don't even think about
it. And then it's
it's kind of like SJWs is basically what it is.
Yeah, it really is. It's true.
Or SMJ.
Sighted McJesus.
Sighted McJesus.
Sighted McJesus.
It really is. It's part of the sighted McJesus formula. SJW sighted like, oh my God.
Oh, I'm you know what? You deserve a leg up.
You know what I'm doing here? I'm seeing from his perspective.
You deserve a leg up, man. You got it hard enough. Oh, I've heard that plenty of times. You got. Matter of fact,
hard enough. I'm a happy fucker, dude.
There was a time when this was years ago when we were at the Lydia Malcolm Library, and I guess I don't know, somebody was pissing on the floor in the bathroom or whatever. So one of the janitors went to my boss and told her, "Hey, I think your employee, the guy there, is peeing on the floor in the men's room." And she's like, "I don't think he would do that." And and she goes, "Well, I'll talk to him about it if you want me to." And the janitor goes, "No, don't do that. He's got enough problems." So it's that kind of shit, So like, well, then what's the point? Then why did you even bring it up? Would you just go in there and hold his dick for him? Maybe just do that.
Last month we were talking about Camp Bloomfield, and it just kind of reminded me of something. One of the cabin inspection guys, he came in there, and there was like piss all over the floor. And I guess we hadn't had a chance to clean it up or something. And he goes, "Hey guys, what the hell?" And he goes, "If you don't hear water hitting water, you're missing it." I was like, God damn, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude,
Well, you won't be surprised how many sighted people miss the toilet. You
of
know,
course.
I mean,
yeah, dude. Well, obviously somebody did, because you're not going to be pissing on the floor, dude.
no, hell no.
That's the thing.
No.
They don't. That's another thing that's another entitlement thing that they don't realize how careful. Visually impaired and blind people are not piss on anything else but the toilet.
Yeah,
because we understand.
Oh yeah,
yes. See, and it's like this cycle, like this crazy fucking cycle. Like we're so hyper aware, or at least most of us are. The competent people are. The people that are actually working on themselves and productive.
They give a shit in society, and that are told that there are. Consequences for our actions.
Like when we're at friends' house, we're not just going like, let's go piss on it. No, we're like, oh shit, I missed it. And like, you might even actually look around,
wipe it up, and if
you can find it. If you piss, because you're like, I don't want to be the, it's like with your dips, whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, that's another thing. You always try to be careful not to spill shit.
You don't want to look like that guy.
Yeah, like
although there's nothing wrong with. Yeah, you guys get what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, once in a while, if accidents happen or whatever, but for the most part, you know what else? I remember there was one time I went to somebody's house and the guy handed me a bottle of water, but he took the cap off it for me. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it was sitting on the table or something. He was like, yeah, it's right in front of you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I reach for it and bam, it goes over. And of course it's got no cap on it. So I'm like, fucking hey, man, why don't you just hand me the bottle?
And then it reinforces that insecurity inside yourself.
Oh God, I felt so stupid too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I wonder how much of entitlement is really projected from us. A lot of it is.
Yeah, we probably have some of it too.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, I just did something a little while ago.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you're resentful for the people because you know what it's going to impact you in the future, because a lot of people will broadly place that onto you as well. Like, hey, I saw this blind guy do this.
So funny enough, in my undergrad, I took a class, very leftist sounding class, called multiculturalism or multicultural diversity or something like that, right? Shit. But it brought up a good point. It's called internalized oppression, which is basically this whole idea of, you're kind of turning it on yourself. Like, oh, poor me, I can't believe I did that. Or, just because I'm blind, damn being blind, I hate being blind. There's times where like you, cruise control, there's times where I have to look at a computer screen that has no voice or no anything on it. And so I have to push my face close to the screen and kind of look at it and kind of look at things. And if I can't find something, I'm like, damn it, I hate being blind. I just kind of say it out loud and then I just keep going. But I get it done, but I kind of like mess around with it.
But
like,
do you really hate being blind? Because quite honestly, I don't know I think I'm so beyond that now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like,
well,
I hate
to me it's kind of a joke.
Like, if you're a 40-something-year-old man or woman and you resent yourself for your visual impairment, you got some serious fucking work to do.
There's shit going on with you. Extra stuff.
If you're still at that point, we're like, God damn it, I wish you could see like those other guys. I was like,
no.
And I know you're not like that. And that's what my point is. Like,
mine is a big joke, and it's just like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, fuck
damn blindness.
Of course, it's frustrating.
Well, like,
you know what?
It comes back to the remember the sighting existence that you heard me bitching about that day? Same shit, where it's like, fuck, now I have to rely on someone sighted to go look at this for me and do. So it's one of the annoyances that comes with the blindness. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not like this dude. If you're like in that, if you're over 30, probably as a congenital means from birth or whatever. If you are like a from birth and you're in your 30s and resentful about your blindness, then you have a long way to go.
Oh yeah.
You should resolve that shit in your teens, like.
Oh yeah, well if you've been that way all your life,
because seriously, that's got to be the first hurdle, and I think that's probably the part that a lot of these sighted people see is these people that don't get over that shit.
Man. Oh yeah.
Well, and again, their support system, whether it's their teachers, their parents, they're not helping them deal with it either. It's like, well, you're blind. We're going to stick you in a closet. You're never going to be normal. Remember that stupid group that Shell and I did years ago, Cruise Control, that Partners in Policy, where we talked about the crying moms. It was a table full of crying moms that had disabled kids, and all they talked about is what the fuck their kid will never do and couldn't do. And I'm just like, how about we hear something that they can do well?
Right.
And
because that doesn't support the mothers.
Oh no, how hard it is for you,
and that's a scary thing too, man, about like the virtue signaling among like fucking moms on Facebook with their blind kids. I took my blind kid out to the car.
Yeah, exactly. I have a blind son.
Son, look at my blind son. I'm freaking.
Well, or back to the blind center again, where they they retard fucking pimp, all the fucking all the blind. We all went and rode the roller coaster at New York, hey! And it becomes a news event. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit made the news.
Dude, whenever it did make the news, man. There's a news story about they took a field trip of 30 like blind adults like our age to a roller coaster, and they put it on the news,
and it was a newsworthy event. It's like Carlos Mencia's "Why the fuck is this news?"
No, it's one of those. It's virtue, like I said, virtue signal 101. But
totally.
Okay, so all that being said, I wonder.
Keep going,
let's just kind of take a little bit of a poll here, and I think I know where it's gonna land, but how many of us? I think we're going to all agree on this. How many of us just can't stand those people that do take advantage of the system and that do like totally like make it like, oh yeah, I went on a freaking roller coaster in New York or whatever you said. And it's like, that's such bullshit, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Oh God, we resent the shit out of those people. That's why we were even doing this topic of entitlement, because I was like, I'll tell you, I was kind of struggling a little bit as far as like, what's our topic going to be this month for shrink wrap? And then I had a situation at work, which was probably the worst case of entitlement I ever dealt with. I had to call Cruise Control and tell them it was that bad. But anyway, this motherfucker. But which I can tell it to you off the air when we're done, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
But man. So that was when I was like, entitlement. That's where they get this shit. And so that's what made me come up.
Like I said, they say you don't have to do anything. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think, look, if you're going to take assistance in whatever form, the thing is, it's like, regardless of who you are, you have to have a purpose besides that. Like I want to perform. I want to do more of this kind of stuff, interviews. That's what I feel I'm good at. I feel this is what kind of stuff I'm good at in my life, and I want to do it. And I also have worked for the last 30 years, so I figure,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, if it's there and it's available to you, you'll do it. But you don't just take every little thing that's, just because it's free. You know what I'm saying? Where I do see some people doing that. Where they
and the point is, I think the point is, regardless, is figuring out what kind of purpose you can have as a person. And I think that like certain groups of people are kind of dismissed from that. And maybe that's the real thing about primary entitlement, is like, you don't have to have a purpose. You're blind.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You right. The dog agrees.
The dog even agrees. Fuck.
You don't have to have a, you can just sit there and just be. It's like, no. Like, no,
I don't want to be. I want to be something.
A lot of people, that are. Is Luke still there?
I don't know. Louie Loke, you still on?
Yeah, I just had to make the dog shut up.
It's all good.
Gotcha.
Dog was cool, man.
Hey, but the dog got into the conversation. I kind of like that, man. It was a nice touch.
But I think that's part of it is that it doesn't matter necessarily. First of all, be self-sustaining. Don't rely on everyone else to do everything for you.
Right.
Like regardless of anything else, that's a good thing. But also, have some kind of like figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, like what
but
you're good
also, you know, on the flip side of the coin, because I'm on this flip side of the coin where I never ask anybody for help, and that's not very good either. You know, it really does.
Well, depends on what's going on.
It really is a detriment at times when it's like, I'm just going to do it myself and I don't need anybody else to help me. And it's like, dude, you would have gotten it done like 5 hours earlier if you would have just asked somebody for help.
But you know, it feels so much more fulfilling to be able to do it on your own. You know, especially when you can.
I mean, here's the deal. Like, and I've been doing it lately at work. Actually, I've been doing it lately at work where I'll say, hey, I need some sighted assistance real quick. Can you just give me some help real quick? And they'll do it. And then I'm like, cool, now I can go do what I need to do, because it's something, it's like a model number that's on a computer or something.
Oh yeah. Well, things like that, you know,
I mean, if they just give me the number, then I'm on my way. I can do whatever else I need to do.
Give me the little assistance so I can be independent. You know, basically. Correct. So, you know, like I know what you're saying. That's why I have an assistant at work, because there are times where there's shit that I'm not necessarily able to do. So, you know.
Yeah.
But the younger me would not even do that. I would just try to figure it out myself.
Like the people like that won't ask for directions. Like because sometimes other blindos will have better sight than you.
Yeah,
and you're walking around with them, and you're following them, and like, just ask directions. Like, no, it's like, oh, fuck it. And then you walk up and ask somebody, and they go, "It's right over there." Okay, thank you.
Right. That's simple
to just do. You know, and I get it. And that's kind of the tug of war. The tug of war, and that's. I think this is actually a different. And necessarily calling this entitlement. I think it's like a psychological tug of war between sighted and blind people, because it's. Or visually impaired people too, because we have
in the sense
similarities,
of, you know. Sometimes I think they think that, you know, like, oh well, you deserve this. You need this because you're blind. You know, like, there was a time we used to do a meeting at this Mexican restaurant, and what would happen is a lot of times the waiters and waitresses everybody who came to the meeting, because they're all blindos, you know, they would go help them out to their buses. And one time I'm talking to the lady who I scheduled the meeting through. And she said, you know, we love having you guys, but, you know, my wait staff is not supposed to leave the restaurant to go help everybody get on their buses. And I told her, well, they shouldn't have to. So there we go again. Oh, I've got to help him to his bus. No, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the whole thing.
It's that constant fight between, I think it's a competency thing with us. I think us three, at least I can't speak for anybody else, for myself. Actually, I'll just say for me, a lot of it is competency. Like, don't ever underestimate my competence, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
well, especially when they see that you're confident and that you're competent, you know, that you're carrying yourself.
And then they still,
it doesn't matter. They all they think about is blind, you know, and you're just like, God damn, bro.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's funny. I was telling Max the other day the situation that I found funny. So I was probably about 19, 20 years old. My daughter was about 2, and I'm carrying her in like this little, like a front pack. It's not like a backpack, but it's like a front pack. It's like some kind of little pack. Yeah. And you know, I'm using my cane. I'm crossing the street, and I'm thinking, dude, this is weird that this guy, he's like, curbs coming up. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I've had the wherewithal to have sex and make a baby.
But you don't know what curb's coming up, right?
But I don't know when a curb is coming up.
And not only that, but you're going to have your daughter on your chest in front of you, not on your back, like on your chest. Like, you're walking forward, like, going strong now. You know, like,
right.
You're going to run into what are you going to run into a pole, like, with your daughter on your chest? Like,
hell no, dude. Come on.
Well, that's
man.
it. You know, like, how fucking, you know, well, you've heard stories of people that are blind or visually impaired. They take their kids away in some cases, you know. So you've heard that shit happen. So it's great. I've had people tell me, well, there was one time I was on the second floor of a building, and the guy's like, I forgot what he said. He said something to me. He goes, "Yep, you're on the second floor now." Like, well, no shit.
Yeah, I went up some stairs.
I either climbed the flight of stairs or I took the elevator to floor number 2. What comes after 1? 65.
Yeah.
You know,
we all have those stories. You know, why are you smelling your phone? All that bullshit.
Yep.
But the point I think is that, like, I think what you're getting at, Max, with Entitlement is it's just frustrating how, you know, the majority of sighted people don't cross that bridge mentally and just like, I think there's a lot of reasons why they don't, you know. I mean, you're going to get some exceptions, and those exceptions are the reasons why you go, oh my God, you know, like, this person's cool.
Well, those people raise the bar, you know, because you're like, okay, you guys can do it. You know,
but is it really a function of sighted, or is it a function of intelligence and perception? Because, and like you said, there are people that do, you know, there was an article about I think it was talking about Stevie Wonder. Again, brought up Stevie Wonder, and it was almost like, it was basically saying, you know, that some people might just say, oh, he was just one of the lucky ones. You know, he was just one of the lucky blind people that made it through the industry, which is kind of true. But at the same time, I heard he was a fucking ruthless asshole too.
I've heard he's a dick too. Yeah.
Well,
they usually are, right? The really talented, popular people, or not popular people, famous people, talented people. Yeah. They usually are.
Ray Charles was so awesome. He was that's why I love that movie, because it showed that, dude, this guy was a fucking asshole.
Oh yeah. He was a dick. He was a womanizer. He drug addict. You know, all kinds of shit.
It's kind of funny, as you know. It's an interesting mentality to have, though. Like, when you're visually impaired and blind, and go, see, look at that asshole. Yeah, he's blind. He's a fucking prick. Yeah, see, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, because they would never. Oh,
you dangerous.
You're not dangerous. You're blind.
He beat up somebody and he's blind. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fucked up. Now that sounds fucked up, maybe to some people out there. But think about it. Because that's part of the problem of the psych. You know, being visually impaired is that we're always climbing, trying to prove.
Oh, dude, a sighted person can put in 20%. We got to put in 70 or 80.
If someone can be evil as a blind person, that means that they are human, and that means that they can be capable of causing harm, and we're dangerous too.
Right.
You know,
Like, absolutely.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
actually, remember Cruise Control and I did a skit years ago, and it was supposed to be at camp. It was supposed to be about Camp Bloomfield, and the kid would act real retarded when the staff was around, but then it was just the counselor and the kid, and the kid would just be like, you motherfucker, I'm gonna get your ass. It's actually a pretty funny skit.
Yeah.
So
that's hilarious.
And so he was a very calculating tard, you know. So it's just like, you know, hey, just because somebody has a disability doesn't mean they don't have the capacity to be a bad person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah,
and I'm getting a bit philosophical here, but so just
no, it's good, man. It's good.
So, but that's the truth. Like especially as a guy, you want to kind of be like threatening. Like, you want people to know, like, hey, I'm a nice guy, but if you fuck with me too much,
don't fuck with me. You know,
don't fuck with me.
Correct.
So,
correct. Yeah.
And as long as you don't come across as being, you know, I mean, I've been in some kind of sketchy places, but nobody's ever fucked with me. I'm just, you know, I don't know what it is about me, but like I guess I come off.
You just look intimidating, Max.
I must. I don't know.
well,
says the blind man.
This is going on a tangent here, but it's true. The thing is, you want to be kind of intimidating in some ways, because visually, like you know, oh, you're blind.
Yeah.
Like, even the way that sounds. Oh, you're blind.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Like as a dude, no, I am, but get close to me and fuck with my family and friends. And, yeah, you'll see. I don't know.
It's kind of like the thing. remember we were talking about this a few years ago on the show where the chick was like, let me feel her tits and all this shit. And to me, it was insulting because it's like, you wouldn't have let any other guy in here do that, but you see me as less of a man.
As a threat or as a presence, you know.
Yeah.
And that's for guys.
So the question is, in the light of entitlement, do you take advantage of the situation and go for it anyway?
No. Actually, I do. No, I do not. I feel kind of shitty and scummy doing shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like that. I was actually bitching about it. If you comb our shows and go way back, you'll find it's I think it's called unwanted titty grabbing or something like that. We named it some shit.
That's just that, and that's the slippery slope to entitlement. That's the slippery slope to allowing people outside of yourself to dictate what you'll do. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, you know, if I just
here's another great case.
Hey, I can't get this. Can you get it? Oh, we'll give it to you this once.
We'll do it. We'll let you have that. Well, it's like this one dumbass. There's this guy who goes to the bar. Every time I see him, dude, I want to take this motherfucker to a strip club, man. And I'm like, dude, you can't touch anything in there. Oh, you'll be able to touch, you know, no. They won't let me do that. I've already gone down that road before. You know, I've been down that road a billion times.
Been there, done that.
Christ, the novel, dude.
Yep.
You guys want to hear something? I've never been inside of a strip club.
Oh, well, you're not missing much.
Nope. I will never go inside of a strip club.
Yeah.
Why would I want to see random chicks who have children to support dancing around poles
that don't want you?
That's a tangent here, but that's the point. That's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm going on a tangent there.
Yeah. But that's this guy's thing. He's like, I want to take you to a strip club, man. This motherfucker's got to go. And I'm like, bro, what? And as much as I try to explain to this dumbass, he still continues.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's actually him trying to be cool. I think he wanted to go into a strip club with a blind dude to be cool.
Right, so we could tell his friends.
So you were like the guy, like, dude, I could get this guy to go
and he'll get to grab tits. He gets to do things that I won't get to do.
No, he doesn't give a shit about what you're doing. This is about him getting in there.
Oh, just like he did something Jesusly, like I took a blind guy to a strip club,
or something like that.
I don't know. I think he sees it more as like a way into
challenge
to take him, or to take him through areas he can't go through, like. Ooh, he could grab tits and he could grab asses. I can't do that, but he could because he's blind and he has an excuse. You know, that dumb shit.
Or was just trying to rob you blind.
He's afraid of getting robbed blind, I think. He's like, no, I won't have to pay if the blind guy's with me. They'll let us touch all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the fun shit, man. Fun shit.
I think coming back though to entitlement, and I know why you like, because like you said, the primary or the secondary is actually an interesting idea, because that's the idea of, again, what
the other people think that you as a blind person think you're entitled to something that you're actually not entitled to. Yeah. Oh, you think because you're blind you can do that. Oh, you think because you're blind you can say that, you know, that kind of thing.
There are people who are bitter toward blind people because they wish they had an excuse as to why they suck.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, damn, at least you have an excuse. Shit.
That's where I'm coming from with that. Think about that. I'm going to say it again. There are people out there who are pissed off at blind people because they wish they had that reason to excuse themselves from sucking.
From what a shitty person they are, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're right. I'm not doing shit with my life, and you're blind. Well,
and you know the person who made the comment about the bus, you know what I'm saying? About, well, the rest of us got to take the bus.
Well, this is especially notable in people who are doing better than the shitty person who's not blind.
Right. Yeah. Like, okay, what the fuck's your excuse? I'm doing this shit. Right. So how come you ain't doing that?
A bitterness, like, cause you know, like, hey, if you got a victim card, man, dude, you know, you can throw it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's it. They want a VARD, man. They want a victim card.
Yeah, they want the excuse to like we have the excuse built in. We're visually impaired and blind. God damn it!
Right.
So
we can do whatever.
Projecting their shit on us.
Right. Like, man, if I was blind, I could at least be the piece of shit I am and get some respect. But not now.
Or at least not be bitched at by my parents.
Yeah, or just the world looks at me as shit, and I look at myself as shit. So, if I was blind, at least I could chalk it up to that.
So that's secondary.
That would be secondary entitlement. Yes,
what do you
sir.
think about that?
Yeah, that all boils down to. I was kind of thinking of that right now. Just this whole idea of there's a guy named Aaron Beck. He's like the guy who kind of created the Beck depression inventory, and basically he says that there's three things that people kind of focus on: themselves, others, and the world. And of course, people who are depressed have negative attributes about all of those. Negative attributes about themselves, others, and the world.
Yeah.
And I wonder if sometimes people have this like I was talking about, that internalized oppression thing, where it's basically like, man, I suck because I'm blind and I'm never going to get anything done. And it's just useless. It's just not going to happen. So, and then others kind of bring out, well, others should do for me, because I'm blind and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then, when it comes to the world, you can have this idea of, well, the world should treat me better because I'm blind, and then the world should be fair all the time because I'm blind, and that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's where this secondary entitlement comes in. It's like they feel crappy about themselves. So they're like, well, crap, I guess this is just the cards that I'm dealt, and I'm just going to have to deal with it. And I'm just going to be the poor blindo and never raise up out of the rut. And then they feel that the world owes them something, and that other people around them owe them something.
There's another thing though. And this is another thing that a lot of, of course, society, everything is so built around visual things. Mm-hmm. That there's a lot of blindos who think that because people can see, that they actually can see, and seeing is everything. If you could just see.
Oh, I hate that. I wish you could see this.
But dude, there's people that just are desperate to see it. There are blindos who are desperate to see out there, and so the sighted are like, they're sighted. That they.
Well, yeah.
So like, because I know they're like, I don't know, like for myself, if I can get better vision, of course I would.
Well, yeah,
and Max,
because you've been able to see.
Would not. Max would never.
No,
Max just doesn't let it.
No, because this is the way I lived. I had to explain that to somebody. Actually,
it doesn't matter where you are. My point is that Luie, it's just personal view on that, but I think that's kind of indicative of a lot of people think that blind people think that being sighted is like that's the ultimate goal.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh God, yeah. God, you don't have sight, you don't have shit in their mind. So that's the kind of thinking. But I wanted to go back to the secondary, what you guys are talking about.
I've never experienced that.
Really?
No, I've never experienced, me personally, experienced where I'm like, I wish I could see, so that things would be better.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But there are people that think that way.
But there are, because there are people that believe, they follow the sighty. I guess I'm saying sighty. I usually don't use
the sighty knack, man.
Well, but wow, you can see, so you can go to these movies and all the sunsets and all this stuff that they're rammed down their throat about, sighted, which is
they assume that you miss out on all this shit, and you don't. I've had people say to me, well, and they think that they're uncovering some major the Zodiac killer or some shit. They're like, well, if you're blind, how'd you get on this website, buddy? And then you're like, well, let me tell you, I use screen reading software, blah, 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 blah. And then you just make them feel stupid.
Right.
But, they assume that, shit, if you're blind, you just miss everything. The whole, the world's not even there for you.
I'm more talking about like the blind people that are told that once they get sight, their lives will be so much better. Or if they, when I don't think that's possible with someone born visually impaired if they're 40 years old and they get sight. I think they
I mean, I guess if there's technology, maybe at some point.
I don't know. I don't know how you adapt to that. I don't know.
But you couldn't. You couldn't.
That's a whole different. Jesus, that's a.
No,
that's
I know.
You know
so like the situation with my vision is that they're kind of messing around with like gene therapy and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm not going to be the guinea pig. And my wife was like, well, what if you could get sight? I'm like, I don't even know if I would want it. I don't know.
Well, people,
I'm so used to being the way that I am that I don't know. I mean, it's a little weird.
I mean, and you're obviously successful with your life right now. Do you feel good about the direction your life is going?
Oh yeah.
Then why would you need to fuck with that if you're already successful?
I wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. But why wouldn't you take that risk and don't?
Well, I've had arguments with people before about that, and they'll say shit like, "Well, I think you're just lying to yourself," and I'm like, "No, I'm not, because I'd have to relearn everything all over again. Everything that I do now, I would have to learn how to do it as a sighted person." It's like,
correct,
that easy,
And a different perspective on my vision is I have a eye that I'm blind completely in one eye, and I have vision in my other eye that's not great. It's 2400, which if anyone knows is not great.
Yeah, mine's 2400 also. In one eye.
And that doesn't really mean much because different vision has different connotations in terms of what you can see and and like blurriness and stuff. Like my vision is very sharp. Like I can see very well with what I can see.
And mine isn't.
I don't even use a cane.
You don't need to.
You
don't need to.
So, and that's not
there's times when I use a cane if I'm in an unfamiliar place, and especially if I'm trying to walk very fast and I'm not trying to I'm not going to fall in a hole just because I'm trying to be hardcore and be like, I don't need a cane, and then you just fall into a hole like an idiot. Because
and then that was not
depth perception.
Just by the way, that was not meant to be like I don't even use a cane. That was just
I know
meant to show my personal vision.
But I think we all have different perspectives. Max is fully blind. I have some vision, but I still use a cane, and then you have more vision and you don't use a cane. So I think it's kind of cool that we're all coming from different perspectives.
Yeah.
Another thing, kind of jumping on your whole idea of the wanting sight or wanting to have sight and that kind of thing. One of my friends, he told me one day, and I think he was a little drunk, but he still told me. He said, "Hey man, you're lucky that you can't see all the way." And I was like, "What the fuck? What?" And he's like, "Man, you're lucky that you can't see all the way." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Man, there's some shit out here you don't want to see." And I was like, "Wow, that's
I've had people
true.
say that. Yeah, people say that to me too. It's probably better, There's some shit you want to see.
Some things, but obviously, that's definitely true.
I don't know.
My point was with the eyesight. I was going somewhere with that. With the my eye not being able to see is that. Like I would not get surgery on my good eye to improve vision in my good eye.
No.
Because I would not want to risk losing sight in my good eye.
Oh yeah. No,
yeah.
That's the same thing with me.
Yeah.
Don't touch the good eye. You can mess around with the bad eye if you want.
So even though someone could say, dude, we can give you so much better sight in your good eye, it's 100% guaranteed.
You still wouldn't do it.
It'd have to be something that would literally be, because I would not want to risk losing what I have already, even though
That's
what
true.
I have already is absolute shit compared to what
everybody else.
Yes. And that's where I'm getting at with that.
Yeah.
I fully go with that also. Yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah, and that's where you are, Max. You're like, why would I want to fuck with what I have? I'm perfectly fine with what I have.
That's it.
But you're not. You don't understand what you're missing. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm missing because it's not there. It's not part of my world.
Right.
That's a lot of, or it's kind of like
never has been.
No, and it's kind of like how I will get sometimes where sighted people will start, and family included, will start describing shit to me that I don't care about. Like, oh, wish you could see the sunset. The mountains are beautiful. And I don't give a fuck about any of that. To me, that's just fucking up my whole vibe, because I'm just getting the other, I'm smelling the air, I'm hearing the sounds, whatever else is around me. I don't give a fuck about your little description.
All they're doing is reminding something that you don't have, that you'll never understand.
Right, exactly. Right. You're talking to me about purple yellow rooster.
You want people to want to rub your fucking face in it. Start describing a sunset to a blind person. That whole mask scene makes me want to fucking punch the movie Mask. We're gonna grab a
when he's like,
tomato.
Blue feels like
cold. Yeah, this is what blue fit. No.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've never got that either.
Or you know what? In every movie, every blind man movie, the blind dude always feels the girl's face. That's some stupid shit.
Yeah, that's stupid stuff too. Yeah,
that's bullshit too.
We're going off now. Now we're just going straight off the.
We're going on. Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
But we got it in on Ensightlement and kind of explained it.
But even that's Ensightlement. The idea that you can describe a color through a feeling, you can't.
Right.
That's true.
You can't describe colors.
But and even as
it's like describing a sound.
Even as a visually impaired person, when I saw Mask. When I saw that, I said, is that how blind people do it? Is that how blind people know colors?
Well, I'm sure, because you're little at the time.
I was even fooled. I was fooled into thinking that that's the truth, that's the way it works. And I'm like,
when I was like,
no.
Well, keep in mind, you were like 9 years old when that shit came out, though.
Right.
So,
and so,
of course.
And I was like, is that how fully blind people do it? And I'm like, wait a minute, I know a lot of blind people. They don't do that. But I had to really
they can't.
I had to really think
about
that.
Oh, go ahead. Good, Luie.
I had to really think about it. I had to like really like compare it to actual reality. Like, no, wait, that's not how it works. I've never seen anybody do that.
Right.
So that's not how it works.
I think that it is so hard for people to comprehend the idea that Max literally cannot understand colors, lighting, visual. Cannot.
Right.
You can't.
It's not part of my world,
you
man.
don't understand it. Right. You cannot understand it unless you see it.
Yep.
You cannot.
It's nothing. You'll never conceptualize it.
It'd be like you describing a sound to a deaf person.
Right.
I mean, I know it's exactly the same thing.
Right.
How the fuck you can't?
Right. This is what loud smells like.
But think about how much of a disconnect that is, though. How much of a disconnect that is for.
True. You know what I'm saying? Like, here, this is a loud, obnoxious sound. Smell that fart? There you go, defo. Now I just explained it. But it's one of those. By the way, I have a term for deaf people that don't speak. That just makes sounds. I heard it today. I was going through listening to one of my rants or whatever, and the term is umbop. They're like umbop, bah, bah, bah. So that's an umbop, dude.
You were the most progressive.
Oh man.
Okay. I forgot about the term until I heard that today. I was like, oh shit, umbop.
Hanson.
Yep, that's just exactly what I was thinking about.
I think with that, kids,
we're done here.
I think we've figured this out, but this goes a lot deeper than just the Ensightlement, because it's a lot about your perception of sighted people, Max, or anybody's. Right. Because even having the term Ensightlement is like a bitter, it's like it's a combative term,
Yeah, well, but where's this coming from? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, where are these people getting?
It's coming from you and them. It's you as much as anybody else.
Well, but I see this entitlement. I'm like, where the fuck are they getting this entitlement? This attitude, like I deserve something because I'm blind. I should have my fuck God shirt on. Like that's just like,
or the side of people that say that you should deserve shit. Like why you should deserve more.
Yeah, they should let you in free. They should let you ride the bus for free. I told you guys that one time when I was at the Porta Subs and that I paid for my meal and everything, and then later the chick comes out with my money and she's like, hey, I'm gonna give you your money back. Guy just paid for your meal. I'm like, oh fuck. You know, like I don't expect that kind of shit. I came in there with means to pay for my bill. Oh, well, you know, you've been dealt a short life, man. You know, I'm gonna buy you a fuck God shirt, man. It's because that's how you should feel, Pally Poo.
Okay, but that does happen to sighted people too. Sometimes people are, you know, especially here in the Bible Belt in Texas, it happens a lot. Not even to me. It happens to somebody else. It'd be like, somebody paid for your meal. Like, whoa, what? You know, and it's not. It has nothing to do with me. It was like, you know, they just, you know, me and my wife were there, or like, you know, it wasn't me. It had nothing to do with me. Now, there was a couple of times where it did have to do with me, and I was like, oh shoot, you know, I don't want that.
Yeah, well, then you feel like shit because you're like, man, I don't expect you to pay for my meal, man.
And it looks like you're like,
yeah, you get some people that, pay for my meal.
But is that our insecurity more than the generosity? Like, who really know? Like, if you eat, you know, like, is it us just being egotistical fucking dudes, or like, oh, fuck you?
Possibly.
Maybe. I don't totally discount that. No,
of course not, because we have pride, which is good. I'm not saying there's not the bad thing. I think it's fucking great. We're like, hey, no, we can support ourselves, you know. So we're not, you know.
Yeah, I just you know, I just don't like that kind of shit. You know, it's like, man,
it's complicated shit, man.
I know it's very complicated. That's why I picked it.
All right, so I'll end this idea with another funny story. See, I have the funny stories this time around.
You do,
right?
You do, man.
There was a guy there. I was with my daughter again.
Another daughter story. Oh wow.
Another daughter story. We were waiting for, I think it was like a city access kind of, you know, paratransit kind of thing. We were waiting for them, and I had a cup that I was drinking out of. It was a soda. I was drinking a soda, and I had finished the cup, so there was nothing in the cup except maybe some remnant of soda, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy walks up to me and starts dumping change into the.
That's the best story of them all. The guy starts putting change in your cup.
Throwing change. I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What are you doing?"
What change? Excuse me. Can I have some change? Yeah. Well, dude, all you needed was
no, guys, because everyone else in the bus is going, "What a nice man!"
Right, he did it for Jesus points. We
were waiting. We weren't even waiting at the bus stop. We were waiting for a taxi cab to show up, because that's what paratransit uses in LA.
They use cabs. Yeah,
they use cabs.
Yeah.
I was waiting for a taxi cab and just sitting there on a bench. I'm not even doing
and you have an empty cup, so the guy's like, "Oh, I'll put money in the blindo's cup here."
I'll put yeah. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I realized what he was doing, and I said, "Oh crap!" So I turned the cup over the other way, like, "No, this is not a cup for."
Right, I'm not here begging for change,
money.
Man. Oh shit! All you need is a harmonica, man. You sit there, or a guitar or something. Be like,
no. He can go.
Oh, dude! Hey, they're beatbox, man. He's getting beatbox.
No, actually, what's really funny about that is there's a guy at Santa Monica Pier Beach, and he was playing guitar and rapping in Spanish, and I decided to jump in and do the beatbox. I swear, man, a bunch of people started dumping change into his, but he was actually collecting money.
Right, he was there to do that, you know.
Yeah, but before I started beatboxing, he wasn't collecting anything, and then I joined in, and I was like, I should get a cut of that. But I was like,
gonna say, you didn't ask him, like, "Hey, man, you gonna share some of that with me?"
It's that blind privilege, man. That blind
privilege.
Blind privilege.
Well, actually, Charlie Daniels has a song called "Let the Blind Man Play," and it's about this blind dude that plays guitar, you know, on the street corner. So, it's interesting.
Anyway, this is a killer long show. Yeah, we've been rolling.
Very good, actually.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
On that note, fuck sandwiches. I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
This is the what is the date, by the way?
It's going to be the 15th.
15th of November 2021. I am Cruise Control, and that also is Mr.
Luie Loke.
Yeah. And that's the story there. Bitches. Wah, 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 wah.
We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With Cruise Control.